Hello, good morning, hello and good evening, depends on what time you're watching this. Welcome to another week on my allotment. And you know me, I can't keep my gob shut. I mean this week has been crazy. I mean, I'm flying the England flag. That is taking a risk in modern England. Hopefully there are no police driving past and see it and come and arrest me for an unthinkable crime of flying my national flag. I had to laugh this week, you know, and I'm not going to talk about the riots. It's all rather depressing and predictable. But I did laugh that one of the first things the new Labour government did, we are in for such trouble. One of the first things they did was declare that the prisons were full and that we had to release criminals early as part of an early release scheme to free up space. And then these riots came along and they've arrested people very, very quickly, charged them, tried them and sentenced them all within a couple of days. That is never a good idea. Whatever happened to collecting evidence, etc. Anyway, I don't have any sympathy for these individuals, but some of them have gone to jail for 3 years. Somebody's gone to jail for years for posting something on Facebook. Wow, whatever happened to free speech? Anyway, these people have gone to prison. Now it turns out that many of them will be released early as part of this early release scheme. Just how inept do our politicians have to get before somebody says, hang on a minute, can we get some competent people in Parliament? I have to say that Britain doesn't have the monopoly on that. When I look around the world, we're all suffering the same problem. Career politicians are a problem. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get back to the plot. Busy time, you won't be surprised to hear that. I've done a few jobs since you were here last, and I'm going to start by showing you the things I've done. And then I've got a small project. It's a big job or a small project. I don't know when one becomes the other, but I'll show you that as well. And that's my main focus today. And hopefully a few harvests. Anyway, you're very welcome. Well, stood here was the third of my Harris fencing for peas, and they were very well dried, crispy. So this week I took down the peas and I've dropped them in the trench that I've dug, and I'm just, over the next few weeks, I'm going to fill that with composting material, and I'm going to grow the peas in exactly the same spot next year. Obviously the soil that I've dug out has just been thrown into the bed. Doesn't do the tomatoes any harm actually. So I know, you know, the aspiration is no dig, but I think those trenches are quite useful. And rather than chop up all the pea material, which is quite time and labour intensive, by just laying it in there it gets rid of it and it serves a purpose. But talking of all the pea material, there's another job I did. I've said before that saving my own seed is something I need to improve at. So I've started, ready for next year. Obviously on the right are the peas that I've podded or shelled. I've got a paper bag marked with pea alderman ready for them to go into. And when I finished shelling those, I picked a few more. So I shall add to that. Not really sure how many I need. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this container here to the top, and that will be a gauge of what I picked this year, and if it's not enough, next year I shall pick more. So seed saving is the way forward. As you can imagine, after finding blight on the plot last week, every time I come up here I go straight to the tomatoes and check for any further signs, and so far, touching wood, no further signs. So that's good news, because just about everything I've got left is blight resistant. But there are a few ripe ones now, so I think today I might take my first picking off of the allotment tomatoes. We're regularly eating my Tigerella tomatoes from the greenhouse at home in our salads, but today I think I'll take my first picking from the outdoor tomatoes. So a significant moment. Well, the chard really has come on beautifully. I chopped out the flower stalks where a couple of them had gone to seed, and I have watered them each time I've come up here. and they seem to have responded quite well. We don't really eat chard, so why are you growing it? Yeah, good question. Well, I'm growing it because every now and again we have a greens juice, so apple, cucumber, and then various leafy greens, because the leafy greens are the way to a strong skeleton, despite what you hear elsewhere. So that's why I'm growing it. It goes in our juices. Well, there's nothing much to see here really, but this is where I put my comfrey. And this week I chopped down all that beautiful new growth of the comfrey plants, chopped it up finely as I can, and I'm going to make another serving of comfrey feed. Can't have enough of that stuff. And something else, I'm taking a few runners. These are Sweet Colossus. I bought them online. There was an offer in Kitchen Garden magazine. So I bought some, and even though I bought them this early summer, they actually cropped. Not much, but they did crop, and they really have come on. So they've got a few runners on them, not many, but I'm growing a few extra plants because I think they'll be significant in the future. Well, this is specially for Brian. He's not having much luck growing butternuts apparently this year, and he posted online a few pictures of some superb onions he's growing, clearly knowing that I haven't managed that this year. So Brian, this one's for you, mate. That is at least a foot long. What a beauty. There are others, but they're not as big as that one, and I'm hoping there's a few more like that under there. And it looks like the pumpkins are coming good. There's a couple there. There's a whopper through there. So I haven't really paid much attention under these huge leaves, but if that's anything to go by, hopefully I'll have the 12 I need to hand into the farm shop as part of the contract. And they're still growing.
Well, it's a long time since I used the drone, and it does bounce about a bit, but it's a very useful way of seeing the plot from above and getting a better idea of just what it looks like.
Well, I like to think that every now and again I impart some useful information to you about growing fruits and vegetables, etc. So to counterbalance that, here's some completely useless information. Cockroaches appeared 120 million years before the dinosaurs, and I suspect they'll be here long after we're gone. The Himalayas were formed 25 million years after the last dinosaur died out. J.R. Tolkien and Adolf Hitler both fought at the Battle of the Somme. During Hitler's years in power, Mein Kampf was given away free to every newlywed couple. Oh, what a lovely gift. The most read publication in the UK is Tesco magazine. I suspect that most people just look at the pictures, or is that just me? And I've never looked at a copy of Tesco magazine in my life. A pint of milk in a supermarket can contain milk from over 1,000 different cows. The average Briton consumes 8 cows, 36 sheep and 36 pigs in a lifetime. And most of them will tell you that they're animal lovers. Well, who doesn't love a bit of bacon? A raw carrot is still alive when you eat it. Half the food produced in the world is left to rot. I can believe that. Every hour the UK produces enough waste to fill the Albert Hall. And if you've ever been there, it's massive. Howard Hughes kept, this is an allotment themed one, Howard Hughes kept a ruler in his hotel room to measure any peas he ordered, sending back those that were too big. My wife's a bit like that. In German, dogging is jogging with your dog. I wonder if that's ever led to any confusion. Bloodhounds' noses are 100 million times more sensitive than human noses. Astronauts' helmets contain a small piece of Velcro so that they can scratch their noses. This is the best. This is the best. You've got to pay attention. Splendor was an insecticide that became a sweetener when an assistant misheard an order to test it as taste it. Well, that could have gone horribly wrong, wouldn't it? Do you always do as you're told? Samsung's first product was dried fish. Wrigley's originally made soap. There. Now some of those might actually be useful, but most of them are not. Anyway, that's enough about what I've done this week. What am I doing today? Well, this path is now completely blocked by the blackberry, the new blackberry growth, the new canes on the 2 or 3 plants that I've got up against the back of the compost heaps. And it means for a significant amount of the summer I can't use this path, as you can see. And I've already got enough blackberries on this plot. So I've decided this week, having to keep push past these, that right, I don't need them, they can come out. So that's what I'm doing today. And if I show you here, this is the other problem. The new growth is also coming through this side and I can't get into these compost bays. So that's the major job today, to take all this growth down and make that path accessible. Job done. That is so much better. And I've left their raspberries, not blackberries. I've left those because raspberries are far more valuable on this plot. Yeah, good job. Very happy with that. Created a lot more space to move about. Cannot get over the size of the blackberries this year. It's astonishing. This is the other side of the path, and this one for some reason is much easier to contain, so I've left it. So now I'm going to pick those blackberries. Right, so here's the next job. I've been growing these in the greenhouse at home, and of course because the greenhouse door is open during the day, the cabbage whites have got in and made a real mess of them. Even though I check them daily, obviously, you know, over 24 hours the caterpillars hatch and then do their damage. Anyway, can't help that. But I can't leave them in the greenhouse, they just keep getting attacked. So they're going in the ground if I've got space. I've got a little bit of space in one bed, and then I shall put the rest of them in their trays under the enviromesh where they should be safe from the cabbage whites. Whether I get a crop up of these or not, I don't know. They're both, one is a cabbage wintergreen and the other is an autumn broccoli. We'll see. But I'm going to lift the enviromesh off one of the beds and get some of these in. Obviously putting lime in the planting hole because neither of these are club root resistant. We'll see. Okay, so cabbage wintergreen and broccoli autumn something. I can't read the last word because it's covered in mud. But anyway, whatever it's called, it's in. And just as importantly, that's another bed full up again. So here we are, was it the 11th of August? I don't have an empty bed. That's the first time in the 8 years I've been here. So I'm really pleased with that. Let's see if they come to anything now. It does seem a bit late in the year for me, but we'll see. Well, yet again, modest, but very happy with it. And the peas are going back home to the garage to be stored till the spring. Yeah, good day, good day. Just as a slight aside, I had you probably know I had a 30-year military career, 22 years in the ranks, and then I got commissioned and spent the last few years as a commissioned officer. And I can remember I had a sort of an epiphany, a moment when I was attending a lecture about the new military discipline system that was coming in. And I remember a senior officer standing up in front of the audience and saying, "We have to reflect the society we serve." And after the lecture I thought long and hard about that, and I thought, no, I disagree with that. We don't have to reflect the society, we have to defend them. So I want an army picked from the very best, well-disciplined, controlled aggression men. An army must be made of men because they are the ones that fight. And you know, clearly that has all now changed. I mean, the RAF were caught out not recruiting white men. I mean, do the RAF not know their history? Their greatest moment in our history was exclusively white men. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have any other colour. Like I say, I don't care, as long as they are the very best. So yeah, I thought, no, it's about time me and the military parted ways, because I can't serve under that kind of regime. I want excellence. I want a meritocracy. I don't want box ticking. Well, of course, that's the way society's gone now. And so it is with Gardner's World. Me and Gardner's World have now parted ways. I am sick to my back teeth of the BBC's box ticking. You know, you see it on all the programmes, don't you? I'm absolutely fed up with it. What with all the different, you know, diversity. I want the best gardeners. I want to learn from the best, the most educated, the most experienced gardeners. Excellence, that's what I want, excellence. You know, I don't want some mediocre person because they've ticked some diversity box. So anyway, me and Gardner's World are finished. That was a long way of saying that, wasn't it? I would get rid of the BBC licence fee, but Cheryl watches a fair bit of it. And you know the chain of command and how that works in any household. But yeah, I stopped watching the BBC News during COVID because I realised they weren't giving us an impartial, balanced view. They were giving us the government propaganda, and that hasn't changed in the last couple of weeks either. So I'm through with the BBC. Gardener's World was the last thing I watched. Even Cheryl's getting sick of it with Strictly Come Dancing and all their box ticking and nonsense. It's a shame to see these once great programmes fall apart because of this stupid approach. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm not sure if I'm around next weekend because our little grandson George is 21st of August, which is a Wednesday. So I'm not sure if we're going up to see them the weekend before or the weekend after. Anyway, it's a long-winded way, that's the only way I speak, of saying I'm not sure if I'm around next weekend. But whenever I'm back, I hope your gardens are now fulfilling what you wanted out of them, whether it's vegetables or flowers or a mixture of the two. Certainly, you know, it was a long old winter, but everything's come good in the end, which is all that matters. So have a great week, and whenever I'll be back, I'll see you then. Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye for now.